I am a soul coach, I'm a meditation teacher, and I also write oracle and tarot decks. I've been doing this work for about 25 years, and I just love working in circles. And I ran meditation circles for about 15 years. And oh, hello, Blake from Canada. Hello, Sylvia. And I just love working with people. And what I have realized over the years is that whether I'm working in face-to-face in a circle or in an energetic circle like we are now, or an online circle, the energy is the same. And that's been part of my growth, and hopefully it's something I will be able to teach to others in the coming years, that it's a sense of community. And just because we're not face to face doesn't mean that the connection isn't important, because it is. I feel the energy, and it's just a little bit of a reminder to us all that just because somebody isn't in front of us doesn't mean that we're not connected to them. What do I mean by that? It's really easy to love somebody. It's really easy to have a connection with someone when they're in front of you, when you can see them, when you can cuddle them, when you can touch them. And of course, when they're not there, it's harder to tune into the energy. And that has taught us to be addicted to the physical, addicted to what's in front of us, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can interpret through our physical senses. And that has made us sloppy, I'll say that, sloppy in the way that we interpret the world through our energetic senses, because we don't have to. Because if it's in front of you, you don't have to engage your inner senses, even though we do, and that is a huge part of us, and that's what's creating our life. But it's because we're sort of addicted to the physical. Because if it's there and I can cuddle it and I can be with it, it somehow fills something within me. So I have no idea why I just talked about that. However, it might be a segue into the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And I'll talk about that in a moment. I'll just finish off what I was saying, that and there's nothing wrong with having anything physical in our world, and the physicalness of our world is just the most beautiful, wonderful aspect of being a human, because we get to see our creations. And so once that creation's in front of you, you can then modify it. You can, obviously we don't try to do that with people, even though I think I've done that with both my ex-husbands. It's like, oh, I just tweak you a little bit and, you might fit my fantasy. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. So, but when this thing turns up in your physical, you can then say, oh, okay, let's just modify this a little bit. Let's just, oh, no, I really don't think I like that. And so you can get better at something or decide to leave it on the path. And so that's, the physical world is amazing for that. The physical world is also an amazing mirror and reflector that helps you to understand where you are energetically, because what you see in the world is how you're seeing it from your energetic position. So yes, I digress again. So the physicalness of this world is wonderful and beautiful, but it does sometimes distract us from our inner work. And the masculine aspect of, or the patriarchal aspect, I should say, because the masculine, I'm not talking about gender here, I'm just talking about the framework that mainly the Western world and well, maybe other aspects of this world living of that patriarchal idea that everything has to be a certain way in the physical, and very much the action orientated, and anything that is hidden or underneath the feminine aspect is not is not of great importance. And that's how the world has been running for a very long time. So when we talk about the divine feminine or the heart opening up, what we're really talking about is the aspect of every human, depending, it doesn't matter about their gender, opening their hearts. So learning to live their life from this place, and in conjunction with the outside world, with the physical world as well. Because we all know people that go around and create. They're actioning. They're like, I'll use an Australian expression, they're like a chook running around with its head cut off, which is a terrible expression, I've just realised. But it is when it comes from the idea of farmers that when they cut the head off a chicken, I'm sorry, I don't know why I went there, that the body still runs around. So that's why I use that expression, because people are running around, actioning things into being, trying to do things and not really getting anywhere, just creating the same thing over and over and over again. And it's because that's very much the divine masculine energy, or the masculine energy within us. And it's because they haven't integrated the feminine aspect. So they're actioning, very good at actioning things into being, but they don't have the ideas. They're not connected to who they are. So they're not really following the path of their soul. They're just doing what they think they have to do to survive. And they don't really get things done. And then we also know people on the other side who are full of ideas, full of amazing creative ideas, and loving and beautiful, and ways that we can make society better, ways that we can make our lives better, but they haven't integrated the masculine aspect, so it never comes out of them and goes anywhere. So hopefully that makes sense to you. I'm trying to give you an explanation of the masculine aspect of ourself and the feminine aspect of ourself, and that we need both. Doesn't matter about our gender. This is not a gender orientated framework. We call it the masculine and the feminine because that's what we have sort of related to negative and positive. So I'm talking about the yin yang here. So if you think of the yin yang, and with black on one side, white on the other, and a little bit of black in the white and a little bit of white in the black, it's saying that this life that we live is both. As a human, it's both. It's physical and it's intuitive. It's positive and negative. Try not to use the word positive and negative too much, because there's a lot of negative tends to be a loaded word, and even positive tends to be a loaded word as well. And if you try and go if you try and push the negative away and go into the positive, well, now you're just pushing away a part of life that is needed there. I seem to have gone on a bit of a weird space, but anyway, let me just come back. So the masculine and the feminine. Why do we need both within us? We need to recognize both within us to become a whole system within us. When you are a whole system, you are connected to every part of you. And that means that on a physical level, on a human level, all of your cells, all of the parts of you, all of your emotions, all of your thoughts, all of your organs, all of your physicalness, you take into consideration. You are the captain of all of you, and you are appreciating all of you. Now that takes in your ego, that takes in your body, that takes in everything. We don't ever want to try and get rid of something. We want to integrate everything within us, which is why I talk about the masculine and the feminine aspects of ourself and bringing them all together. I'll just tell you a quick story about I had a very, very weak masculine energy when I was growing up. I didn't have many male role models around. I had my father, and he had PTSD from the Second World War and was searching for something. He was always running after something. So I really, and we came to Australia, so I didn't have any other relatives around me. And so I grew up with a bit of a weak masculine. That's not to blame my father. I chose this life. But I was also taught to be very resilient. So I looked like I had it all together on the outside. But I tell you, scratch the surface a bit and there wasn't much there, and it would be easy for me to fall apart and not cope with life. And so you could call me a functioning depressive, if you like, or a functioning anxiety person, because underneath it all there was this anxiety and depression as well. So I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at myself, really, because of what I'm about to tell you. And so what would happen is because I looked at strong on the outside, but on the inner I was a bit not so strong, not so resilient. I brought men into my life in romantic relationships who looked strong on the outside, said all the right things, but scratched the surface a bit, and there wasn't much there. There was no support. They would fall apart. They were never there for me. They were, not that I needed anyone there, but when I needed them to help me out, they were never there. And that tended to be a pattern in my romantic relationships and in both my husbands as well. And that's okay, because they taught me to be resilient. I may have been wanting something different to that. Well, I thought I needed something different to that. But they taught me to be more resilient and to come back to me. And so I'm truly grateful for that. Because, of course, if somebody was there doing everything for me, I may never have stepped onto my path. Of course, I would have probably ended up being bored out of my brain and left anyway, because nobody has been put on this earth to make you happy. And you have not been put on this earth to make another happy. We want to co-create with people. We want to have fun with people. And we want to expand and grow and create things together, but we're not here to prop them up, to make them happy, or to fix them, because that's not our job. That's also a judgment. When you look at somebody or something and you say, oh, I'll just tweak them a little bit, like I said earlier, or, oh, I can bring out their potential, I can fix them, that's a judgment, because you're looking at them and saying that they are less than. And if anyone's ever done that to you, it's awful. It makes you feel less than. And it's not the way to heal. It's not the way to support. It's not the way to love. And that's just my belief. You don't have to believe that. And of course, so I had this very strong feminine energy that was really loved to create things, loved to do things, loved to write and think about things, and very much strong. But I just did not really know how to bring that out into the world. And it's taken me a very long time to believe in me and believe in the ideas that I have and want to help people with that. And we can all suffer with that. That's that inner doubt. And of course it mainly happened to me because I just didn't think I was enough, because my inner masculine was not very developed. It was still a child. And so I remember doing some inner child work and even some past life work. And one particular session, my inner masculine turned up, and it was a 9-year-old boy who was drowning. And so we actually went in and saved him and brought him. And over the years, I've been helping him to develop and grow up inside of me, so that I can look beyond the patriarchal system I grew up in, and but also not judge it and not say it was wrong. It was just a system I grew up in. It was the majority of the thinking that we have had. But now we want to bring the masculine together and the feminine together and create something new. And that's not about non-binary, because this isn't about gender. This is about every human being opening up to their potential and then being able to create that in the world and knowing that they have worth. So that wasn't anything I was going to talk about this morning, but that's where we went, and that's where your beautiful energy took us today. And I hope that made some sense about the masculine and feminine energies within us. It always come back to the yin yang. Now, the reason that we have this on the earth is because when we're all whole, we're all part of the same source. And if you think about it this way, that the whole, or the source, is this beautiful sphere, this beautiful creative heart at the center of the universe. And we are all the elements of the source, moving on our streams of consciousness in an eternal ride, if you want to call it that, out into the unknown, and we're constantly growing and shifting and moving. And on your stream of consciousness, there are parts of you will come down to experience different experiences, different lives. And when you let go of that life, you come back into your stream of consciousness, and your stream of consciousness expands. So you can also call your stream of consciousness your soul. And but it's like it's like an app or a little piece of software that it comes back into your stream of consciousness, but it also exists as the life that you lived. So anyone that knew you as that aspect of you as a human or whatever life you're living will always be able to connect with that. So again, while we went on I just went way out there, but anyway, but if you think of all these streams of consciousness, which is everyone, and we are all looking at the source, even though we're all moving outward in an eternal journey. It's like we're all looking inward at the source, but we're all looking at it from our own perspective. We all have our own way of seeing the source. Thousands, billions and billions and billions of souls, the stream of consciousnesses, all have a different perception of the source, because this is we are a way for the source to know itself, because we're all one. And so everybody's ideas are needed. Everybody's perception is needed, because it's looking at the source from a different perception. And isn't that wonderful? And living as a human, we get the free will to live however we want to live. Obviously, we have a theme, and we're going to work with a particular theme in this life. But in the end, we get to choose what we do on a daily basis. So in any moment, you can choose fear or you can choose love. And of course, whatever we choose more of tends to be what we become. So, but in the end, the choice is yours. But the more times we make a choice, the more time we think something, a similar thought, it will eventually become a belief. And then that belief tends to drive the way that we live our life. But always know, you created that. So if you created that, you can create anything else. And yes, it's uncomfortable, and it can feel like when you let go of beliefs, it can feel like you're dying, and it can feel like everything is shifting because, of course, when we think something often enough, it then falls into our body and becomes body memory. So it becomes part of our body and our nervous system, which is why when you change something or when something big happens in your life that may be not so good, you feel like you've had the rug pulled out from underneath you. And it can feel really uncomfortable. So that is why we want to know the masculine aspect of ourselves and the feminine aspect, so that we've got this resilience within us, getting to know ourselves on a really different level, a whole level, that there's nothing in the world that you need for you to become a whole person. Another person is not going to come along and say and complete you. Ugh, that makes me want to throw up. Because the biggest problem with that is that what happens if they go away? What happens if they have a bad day? What happens if they die? What happens if they get sick of you? Or what happens if they just don't comply with the way that you want things to be? And so that is the biggest problem with that whole idea. It is wonderful to have people come into your life who will reflect the love of you, but always remember, then it's up to you to emulate that within you. If they've opened your heart and you have recognized the love of you, the fullness of you, which is the complete balance of masculine and feminine, there's no resistance going on. And you open up your heart and you feel very different to the way you've ever felt before. You feel complete, if you want to call it that, and you feel an easiness and that anything is possible. It's not the fact that this person is doing it to you. They're reflecting the truth of you back to you. And the more intimate a relationship is, the bigger that reflection will be. And that's why intimate relationships, when they're amazing, they make you feel absolutely amazing. But when it starts to go a bit wrong, it feels horrible because, of course, it's pretty much close up. It's like the mirror is here reflecting you back to you. And so it's just that reminder of your partners do not make you feel that way. You make you feel that way because they're reflecting that back to you, because they are in the state of feeling that oneness within them, that balanced energy. And it's truly wonderful. But of course, and that's all that honeymoon period where everything just seems possible and wonderful and amazing. And then we start to rely on them. We start to rely on feeling that good within us through that other person. And without realizing that it's our job to recognize that energy on a daily basis, because they've opened our hearts and we now can connect to that. And it's our job on a daily basis to connect to that, so that then, and we can take the relationship to the next level. But if you're constantly saying, oh, I'm not having a good day, please make me feel better. And of course, our partners will do that for us as well. But you don't rely on that to make you feel better. You make yourself feel better. And this is the resilience and the things that we're not really taught. And it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. You need to be able to apply that intelligence and begin to incorporate all sides of yourself to become that beautiful oneness person. Now, I understand why we have the non-binary and we have all of the non-gender aspects coming up, of course, because think about younger people looking at the world and they see all these gender roles and it's just not working. And of course, again, the masculine, divine masculine and divine feminine don't have really anything to do with gender, but it's sort of been hijacked that way. And it's like, if you look like this, you have to act this way. So if you're a man, you have to act this way. If you're a female, you have to act this way. And of course, none of that's really true. But you have enough people thinking the same thing and it will become something in society that people just believe you should be. So all of that's breaking down. And as it's breaking down, we want to start to explore the masculine aspects of ourselves and the feminine aspects of ourselves. Think of the feminine. The divine feminine is the black part of the yin yang. It's the unknown. It's the black velvety matrix deep within us. It's the quantum field of all possibilities where anything can be thought into being. And then you can sow that seed. Because as soon as you think it and you go, oh, that would be lovely, that would be nice, I really want to live that and experience that, it's seeded within you. And then we need the divine masculine, which is the white part of the yin yang, to shine its light. If you think of the yin as the moon and the yang as the sun, it shines its light on that and begins to make it grow. And as it grows, you will begin to be aware of circumstances and things that are coming to you that will help you to create that in the world. And that is called inspired action. And we meet that and then we start creating it. And so this is using both sides. You have had an idea and you've seeded it, and now your masculine is giving you the opportunity to bring it out into the world. It is as simple as that. It's as simple and as hard as that. Because, of course, if you don't have a strong masculine, you're full of doubt. Oh, what if it won't work? What if people won't like me? What if people think I'm silly? What if I fail? And all of those doubts stop it. And it doesn't matter how many opportunities you get, you won't move forward. And the same thing is if you've got all of these, you're actioning stuff all the time. You're doing it, but you're not connected to the initial idea. You're trying to action somebody else's idea. And of course, our education teaches us that these are the ideas that have been written down and, off you go. We'll teach you this and then off you go. And you can become a productive member of society doing whatever it is that you do. But of course, they're somebody else's ideas. And there's nothing wrong with somebody else's ideas. But just like I said earlier, we are all these streams of consciousnesses looking at the source, and we are all looking at a different perspective of the source, and your perspective is needed. And so that's what getting to know yourself means. And then it's, okay, so how do we then create it in the physical world? And we use the feminine aspect of the creation, and then we use the masculine to actually bring it out into the world. Now, this doesn't mean that we're an island and we don't need other people, because circumstances may come into your life that say, okay, go and see this person, or connect with this person, or do this, do that. And it's not that it will all just happen and you won't have to make yourself vulnerable or put yourself out there. That's not what this is about. But this is saying that you need to find that within you. For me, because of that weak masculine aspect within me, even in business, I was always looking for somebody to support me, not so much monetary wise, but just to say, well, okay, yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, I think people would like this. And I needed that support in my business, which held me back for a very long time. I was still doing my business, I just wasn't getting anywhere. I was just making enough money to get by, but was not making enough to create anything bigger or to be able to help other people. And that's where I am now. I'm at a new chapter in my life where I'm creating something new, because now I want to be able to help others create the life that they want to create. And I've shied away from that for a very long time, because I didn't want to be responsible for giving ideas to people. But that's a bit arrogant, and it's a little bit because I was trying to protect myself. And that stemmed from a past life experience that I had where I had been a woman who taught other women to read and write, and at the same time I was having an affair with somebody I shouldn't have been. And anyway, that all culminated in a lynch mob being put together and saying that I was teaching these women witchy stuff. I was a witch. And so we were all lynched and hanged and killed. And on my deathbed of that particular life, in the remembrance of when I was doing past life work, is I said to myself, I will never put myself in that position again. I will never put other people in that position where my words can get them killed, basically. So I've had to deal with that a lot this life, and it's made me a bit introverted at times. But it's like, okay, I've now got older in my life. You know, I'm going to be 60 next year, and it's I was born in the year of the wooden snake, and of course next year it's the year of the wooden snake. So it's like, okay, if not now, when? It's time to really start putting myself out there and hopefully start inspiring other people to really connect to their whole aspect of themselves, really get to know themselves and know that there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that we haven't been taught how to really, just love ourselves and honour ourselves and be who we are. So that's a big subject to talk about in an hour. But anyway, that's where we went. And I also really want to make myself a little bit more vulnerable, and so that people realise that, we're all different and it's okay. I can't tell you how many times I failed in business. I mean, right back early, I was a hairdresser. I started work at 15 and I was a hairdresser, and my hairdressing businesses, I went into business then, never really took off. I didn't lose too much money, but it was just, everything just sort of stalled. And that's been the pattern of my businesses all of my life. And every now and again, I've had to go and get a job and go and work for someone else. And it's wonderful for a little while because I love, connecting with people. But then it turns a bit horrible. I give too much and I don't have any time for my business. Everything becomes about that. And so, I've had to learn this way of being in the world, that that my businesses aren't really in the past, my businesses have not been able to look after me. But of course, I've realised a big realisation of that is the fact that I never really wanted to be fully successful because I didn't want to be responsible for it, which is the story I just told you before. And also, no man would like me. It's a big one. I feel a little bit embarrassed saying that. And so it's like, just keep yourself dumb. Dumb yourself down a bit. Don't be too successful. And it's thank you for all the hearts as well. That and it's really quite funny. So again, that's the inner masculine in me is saying, was not fully developed. So today we're going to do a meditation that is going to connect you to your inner masculine and your inner feminine. Now, when I first did this meditation, be ready for anything that comes, whether it be a colour or a symbol or a person. The first time I did this, my inner feminine was Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac. And my inner masculine was my first dog that I ever had, which was a Doberman called Teddy. And he bounded up, and I'm thinking, why am I seeing my dog? And of course, so the inner feminine, Stevie Nicks, I mean, she was she's still alive. She is the epitome of that feminine aspect. She wears all those beautiful lacy clothes, and she's quite vulnerable, and there's that wanting love, and she's that very much the artist. And I remember seeing her right back in 1986, it's a long time ago now, when she was touring, right in the middle of her really bad drug phase, and she nearly fell off the stage. And but it was still wonderful. It was still great to see her. But throughout the concert, she obviously went out and between each song did some more drugs. And steadily, as the evening wore on, she was quite not really with us by the end of it. But anyway, it was still a wonderful experience. So, and so that's it. Maybe for me, taking her story is that I need to allow my inner feminine to be more vulnerable, and and that vulnerability or any doubts that I have, not to cover it up with my addictions. And not that I ever had drug addictions. I tended to bring lots of men into my life with drug and alcohol addictions, but I certainly had an addiction with food and with distracting myself and reading. Obviously, I'll go and buy another book. or addicted to information. And so it was a sign for me that don't push my inner feminine down with those addictions, and just allow that to come out and play. And the inner masculine aspect, of course, being a Doberman, a dog, is okay, so what does that mean to me? It's very much about loyalty. And he was a big, goofy Doberman, Teddy, and always wanting to have fun and play, and full of energy. And so it's like, okay, so how does that relate to my inner masculine? And it's like, well, maybe one, it has to be more loyal. I have to be more loyal to myself. I have to have my own back, because he looked after me and I looked after him, obviously, but I always felt very safe around him. And so it's like, okay, let's create that inner masculine. I've got your back, and I can look after you, and you're fine, and everything will be fine. And be loyal to yourself. Be loyal to your word, because nothing worse than getting up in the morning and saying, okay, today I'm going to eat really healthy food and I'm not going to eat anything bad. And then within 2 hours, I don't know, you might be eating chocolate or you might be eating something. And so you've just broken the word to yourself. So you're not going to feel like you have your own back. So only say things to yourself that you know you can keep your word. and of course also to have more fun and to maybe be a bit more goofy as I create things in life, and not be scared to fail, and know that failing is just another way of creating something better, which is what I said very early in the piece of today. So whatever comes up today for you. It will be personal to you, and we want to actualize it, not interpret it. So actualizing means, oh, where is this in my life, and what is it? How do I feel when it comes up? And so, just have a bit of a fun and play with that. Now, before we go in to the meditation, I'm just going to choose a card. That's right. I'm just looking. What am I going to choose? I'm going to choose from my mandala healing deck, and let's just choose a card. And so think of this as the theme that will go on to today. Whoops, they're all going to fly out. And then I'll choose a couple of cards afterwards. So the card that I got is response. Okay, so I'll just quickly read out the message and then we'll start meditating. Did anyone have any questions before we start? Or anything that they may want to say or share? And I know it's been a lot of talking today, but one day I'll get it all out in 10 minutes, but I just open my mouth and it keeps coming until it doesn't want to come anymore. So response. Stress does not hurt you. It is your response to stress that hurts you. Stress is the product of an unbalanced view that you take about a particular event, whether you are experiencing it now, anticipating the future, or revisiting the past. Take note how you respond. Are you helping or hurting yourself? So that's a really great card to take into an idea to take into the meditation is, how do we respond to things? So when something turns up in your life, how do you respond? Are you triggered? And triggering is just telling you that you're either have something inside of you that isn't true for you. It's a belief that isn't true for you, or there's an imbalanced thinking about it, but it's something for you to come back into balance with. And I know that it's much easier said than done, but just go easy on yourself. And you don't have to get to the bottom of it. It's just a simple question. Why do I respond that way? That's it. You don't have to find an answer at that time, but it's just the willingness to ask. So, let's make ourselves nice and comfortable. Now, you can either sit or lie down, whatever is more comfortable for you. Know that sometimes if we lie down, we go to sleep. But if you go to sleep, that is what is needed for you today. Maybe your body is tired. So I'm glad that made sense to you, Christine. And so just go easy and just go on the ride, and think of this as being a fun way to imagine something new within you. And that's the way I always want my guided meditations to be. This is an inner journey for you to get to know you, and think of it as as we would as a child when we're imagining things. It's really quite fun and wonderful. You get to experience something new about yourself. So when you've made yourself nice and comfortable, just take a deep breath in. And out. And just let all the words that have been spoken to just begin to just gently float. And you can imagine that they are a sphere of rose quartz crystal. And all of those words are flowing into that crystal, all being transformed into something that will help you to open your heart. Take another deep breath in and out. And just gently close your eyes and open your heart. Allow your breath, the breath of life, to flow deep, deep into you. And with each breath that you take in, you begin to feel yourself relaxing more and more, feeling your shoulders drop down and your jaw relax. And your whole body is just beginning to just soften. Tension and tightness is just melting away. As you make this time a very special time for you, to know yourself, to learn something wonderful and new about you, how magical and wonderful you truly are. Breathe in and breathe out, and imagine that beautiful rose quartz sphere that is gently rotating above you now. You begin to see trendles of beautiful soft pink light flowing from this sphere. And this is all of the information and all of your own revelations and information that has come to you today. It's all moving together within this beautiful sphere, creating your wisdom, your heart wisdom, your heartfulness. And those trendles of beautiful soft pink light begin to move around you, begin to fill up the space around you. And everything is being transformed into a higher vibration to help you to become more and to open your heart a little further, to expand your mind, to expand your consciousness, your awareness, to be able to see things from a wider, bigger, larger point of view. Taking in more information, taking in higher vibrations, resonating in a space of your soul. And beautiful, soft blue light is now beginning to enter the room. This beautiful, soft blue light fills the space around you. It illuminates everything with a beautiful, soft blue light. And blue will connect you to your throat, your higher will. It's clearing away your throat, clearing away anything that stops you from speaking your truth from your heart. And this beautiful blue energy will also open your higher will. Your throat chakra is about communication and listening and speaking. Learning to listen to yourself and learning to speak your truth. And your truth is not judgment. Your throat chakra is also the space of your higher will. How willing are you to live the life from your highest potential? Your tenacity, your willingness to live your dreams and your desires. And this beautiful blue light flows down into your heart, and it mixes with the beautiful sphere of soft pink light. And as you breathe in now, imagine you breathe all of that light into your heart, the soft pink and the soft blue, your heartfulness and your willingness, your love and your will, your willingness to live your life from your soul's perspective. The feminine and the masculine. And breathe them into your heart until they begin to form a beautiful yin-yang within your heart. And as this forms within your heart, the soft pink becomes silver and the soft blue becomes gold. And within your heart you have this beautiful gold and silver yin-yang. And it begins to grow larger and larger, larger and larger, until it is spinning in front of you. And it is now creating two pathways, the silver pathway and the gold pathway. The silver pathway is the feminine, the gold is the masculine. The gold is on your right and the silver is on your left. And you notice something now on your silver path, something moving. And you begin to see something moving towards you on your silver path, on the path of your feminine. This is a representation of your feminine energy. It might be a symbol. It might be a symbol, a colour, a person, a thing, a number. Whatever it is, let it move towards you. And it is now standing in front of you, or floating in front of you. And it has a message for you today. So just open your heart, open your mind, and listen. What is this message? And we now thank the feminine aspect of ourselves for showing up today and helping us to know something new about ourselves. And you watch now as that aspect of you just gently moves back down the path, out of view, fading away. And something in you feels completely at ease. And the idea that you can create whatever it is that your heart desires. And now let's take our focus to the golden path, the right side. And you notice something moving at the very end of the path. And this will be the representation of your masculine. And it begins to move closer and closer to you. And whether it be a colour or a symbol or a number or a person or maybe an animal, whatever it is, let it come towards you. And now it stands in front of you, floats in front of you. And as you look into the eyes of, or the energy of your divine masculine, you begin to feel a sense of anything is possible. The feminine helped you to understand that you can create whatever it is that you want to. It is there. You can seed all of your amazing creations. And the masculine is helping you to understand that anything is possible. Any way is possible. There are infinite amount of ways that your creation can manifest. And your inner masculine has a message for you today. So open your heart and open your inner ears to listen. And your beautiful inner masculine gently just turns around now and starts to move back down the path and fades away. And we thank your beautiful divine masculine for this message and to helping you know something new about yourself. You can create the life you truly desire. And now this beautiful path of gold and silver begins to gently move back towards you now, forming that yin-yang. And you take that beautiful gold and silver yin-yang and you place it into your heart. And you can feel the energy of being in pure balance and integrating everything about you. Everything is allowed within you. Love is a space where everything can be without judgment. And when you move beyond the judgment, you can then feel whether anything is for you or not for you. And you can either play with it on your path or leave it on the path. But you don't have to push it away and you don't have to pull it towards you. Remember this feeling. Remember the ease within you, and know that you can create whatever you want because you are a creator. Your energy is creating every part of you. And open every part of you and say, I am willing to change. I am willing to change to become more of me and my dreams and desires. You are so loved and you are love. Feel like this is a sacred union moving within you. Take a deep breath in and out. And just feel this beautiful gold and silver yin-yang moving deep, deep into you. You have just become more of you and expanded into more of your soul, allowing the qualities of your soul to move forward. Take another deep breath in. Feel the breath of life moving into you, animating your soul as your physicalness. And feel your soul, your consciousness, flowing into every part of your physical body, aligning your body, your soul, and your mind. Everything coming together as one. Breathe in and call all your energies back to this moment, to this place. Be fully present right here, right now. And as you do, you begin to feel that sense of soft pink and blue around you. It's like a buffer that will allow you to move through this life with an open heart and an open mind. It becomes the buffer that helps you to become more of you as you expand your vibration, as you begin to resonate at a higher level. This beautiful soft pink and blue light will just surround you, supporting you, helping you, loving you. Take another deep breath in and out. And when you feel ready, just gently open your eyes and smile. And just take your time coming back. And that was really such a wonderful journey. Thank you. Thank you all. That was slightly different to the way I usually would do that meditation, but it was exactly what was needed. And it's truly, truly wonderful. I hope that that helped you, and I hope that that helped you to get to know something new about yourself. Keep being you and enjoy your time. So thank you all so much, and as usual, as I always say, be kind, be curious, and dream big. So lots of love, everyone. Thank you.